The intro. Hello, everybody. I forgot to play the intro, so let's do it now. So, hello, everybody. Welcome back to the next YouTube channel. And this is the Learn English with Football YouTube show, which was also happening last year. This is new season. And obviously, as always, we've got fantastic guests. Today it's Pan, Jack, and Joel. Hi, guys. Welcome.
Hi.
Hi.
Hey, guys.
Good to have you here, of course. So we're going to start with Pan because he is the only regular here today. So, Pan, did you miss the Premier League?
Yeah, it's kind of boring, right? You get caught in this transfer rumor stuff in summer, and it's quite unsatisfying. Your team gets linked with this player, and you get excited, and you really want that player. Then you don't get that player. Then you get some other player, and you realize you just wait. You're waiting for football to come back, basically. Right?
Exactly. And this is obviously your website. Nothing has changed. Is it still the same?
Same.
Very good. So you help. Can you remind us who you help?
Yeah, I work with Finnish people. I live in Finland. I work with Finnish people to help them improve their spoken English, basically.
Very good. And then we also have Jack, who's making his debut. Hi, Jack.
Hey, how's it going?
It's all right. So how about you? Did you miss the Premier League?
I did indeed. I did. I mean, we were supposed to have a World Cup this summer to make up for the lack of Premier League football. I think I can handle having it at Christmas, but it has left a bit of a void. But come on, the Lionesses winning the Euros. That helped with the lack of Premier League. But yeah. It's back now, though. It's back now.
Fantastic. So this is your website, Learn English with JT. Does J stand for Jack?
It does. Jack Thomas is my name. Yeah.
Very good.
And
you asked me specifically to promote your conversation club. Would you like to tell us what it is?
Yeah, I've got a conversation club starting next week. I help higher level students learn English. In fact, it's interesting that you work with Finnish students because I spent many years helping specifically Swedish students. So I've got quite a lot of experience with higher level English speakers. And yeah, I've got a conversation club starting in a couple of weeks. We're going to be an hour a week talking about controversial issues, current affairs, different topic each week. There'll be a pre-session task, so an activity that gives students to give them some of the vocabulary they need, introduce them to the topic, and then an hour of conversation with in a safe environment. Yeah.
Nice.
Starting that.
So both of you guys are English. Both Pan and Jack are English, I assume.
Yeah.
But we also have someone here from Ireland. Hi, Joel.
Hey guys.
How's it going?
It's going well. It's good to be with you guys.
I have to ask you about the same thing. So did you miss the Premier League as well?
Yeah, I mean, I did miss the Premier League. You know, it's been about 3 or 4 months since the last time we saw City win the league. So, you know, it's good to see it. You know, it's good to see them start their campaign again. They'll probably end up winning again this year, but you know, it's still good to be back all the same.
Yeah. So we actually saw each other in real life, Joel, because we worked for the same language school in Ireland. It wasn't long ago that we were on the same bus. I think we were on an excursion to Glendalough, wasn't it?
Yeah. Yeah, it was. It was. I know it wasn't so long ago actually, but it feels quite long. But not
it was
too
like
far.
A week ago or something.
A week ago, 10 days. It was a good trip, all things considered. But I'm glad to be home now. Glad to be watching the Premier League at the weekends again.
Exactly. So good to have you here as well, Joel, of course. And what are we going to start with? So the first thing, so we've got a few segments here. It's like a tradition. And the first thing I'm going to discuss with you is the matches you guys have seen. This is the segment. So who would like to go first?
Oh, I don't mind going first. I watched the early kickoff on Saturday. I watched Liverpool Fulham. It was a really good game, actually. I was expecting Liverpool to absolutely obliterate Fulham. I think that was the general feeling across everyone, and that was, well, apart from maybe Fulham fans, and that did not happen at all.
Nope.
Fulham looked really good, and I was expecting in the second half, the energy to go, but Fulham were pressing hard, winning the ball back. Obviously, Liverpool had their chances, and
Jack, I'm sorry to interrupt you. We can discuss this later. Let's just first talk about the games we have seen. So that's all right. I really like talkative guests. We really wanted here on this show.
Yeah.
This is the best. But so this was the first game you saw. Did you see any other games? I assume you saw your team's game, right?
Yeah, I saw Brighton United as well. I'll just leave it at that. I saw Brighton United.
Now it sounds like a little bit of what's the word for it?
Building
I'm a bit,
suspense.
yeah, like because you talked about the previous game for so long, and now you just say, and then I watch Brighton as well, and that's your team. Yeah. That's the team you support.
I don't know if anyone saw, but Brighton beat Man United at the weekend. At Old Trafford,
Anticlimax is the word
in our history.
Sorry, the anticlimax was the word I was looking for.
Yeah. Sorry for the anticlimax, but the game itself was definitely not an anticlimax.
Absolutely not, especially for a seagull like yourself.
Yeah.
So, any other games or just these two?
Just those two. Oh no, actually, I watched the Arsenal Palace game as well, which, as a Brighton fan, was also an absolute pleasure to see Palace game beat. So, yeah, it's 2 out of 2 games won.
Nice. Well, we do have an Arsenal fan here, Joel. So I assume he saw the Arsenal game as well.
Yeah, I did see the Arsenal game. Yeah, well, I'll just leave it at that, not to expatiate on it. But yeah, I did watch the late game on Friday. Yeah.
Any other games or just this one?
I did watch most of the big four, most of the big five at the weekend. So I saw Arsenal and United, obviously, City, and Liverpool. I watched a little bit of the Chelsea game, but not all of it.
When you said I saw the big four, I'm wondering which big four you mean, because doesn't this change a bit? Now this year is gonna be obviously Brighton, Leeds, Arsenal. These teams are gonna be the new big four, right?
Sorry,
it's
been changing for the last few years, but yeah, exactly. I only saw 4 teams, so I just said big four. But
I did mention Leeds there for a reason, because we have Pan here, a massive Leeds fan. So,
so I watched,
which games did you watch, Pan?
I watched basically everything. Like my brain's fried. Like Friday, the Palace Arsenal early kickoff, Liverpool Fulham. Then I watched Leeds. Then there was the Everton Chelsea game after that, which was a bit boring, bit of a letdown. That one. That was an anticlimax. And then Sunday, the Brighton, saw them smash United, and then Man City, West Ham. Like way too much football. But that's what happens though. If you don't eat for a long time, you get hungry, and then you overeat. So basically, that's
exactly. To be honest, my program was more or less the same as yours. I saw the Arsenal game, then I watched the Fulham Liverpool game, and then I picked Manchester United Brighton game out of those. I think that you already had a choice there, so picked Manchester United game, and then I decided to skip the Chelsea game. Actually, I saw like a few minutes, and I skipped it, and I watched the German league for some reason. I was right to do that, and then I also saw the West Ham Manchester City game. So just to remind everyone, I am an Arsenal supporter. However, I also have a soft spot for West Ham. So last season I was a bit torn between these two teams. Okay, So now that this is out of the way, let's discuss some game week highlights. All right, so we have to start with your teams, guys, then. So I guess let's go for the Arsenal game first, since it was the first game of the season. So Joel, when you saw the team in first round that Arsenal were going to play, did you think on paper that it would be an easy game, away game as well, Crystal Palace away?
Yeah, I mean, I was going to mention that. They play with a lot of spirit, I guess. They're not the most skilled team in the league, but they do have quite a number of quite physical players. They're quite fast as well. And playing them away from home, it's a pretty hostile environment. So it was intrigued to see how the Arsenal players would respond to that. Obviously, they've kind of been accused of a lack of mental toughness over the last couple of years. So I didn't think it'd be an easy game. Nevertheless, you just think, well, Arsenal finished, I think, 5th last year. Crystal Palace, I'm not sure if they made the top 10. So, just the way you usually expect the better team to win, I kind of went in with that. But I wouldn't have been surprised with a draw or even, a loss, all things considered.
No, there was this trauma from last season when Arsenal lost to Brentford in the opening game. And we still remember it, right?
Yeah.
And then we had 0 points from the first 3 games because the second game was against Chelsea and then City as well. So that was bad, yeah. But this season we had a fantastic preseason, didn't we?
Yeah, I mean, great preseason. It was great that Gabriel Jesus played really well in the preseason. That he seemed to be developing a lot of chemistry with, the other forwards in the line like Saka and Martinelli. And that I think that carried over to Friday night's game as well. That kind of front four they have with Saka, Jesus, Martinelli, and Odegaard is something that seems really special and really quite potent. I think I like the decision from Arteta to kind of start Odegaard over Smith Rowe this season. That was a bit of a battle mid last season whether or not they were going to do that, and he's kind of fully committed to Odegaard now. I think they just look so fluid at times, offensively, in a way that other teams, Man United, haven't been able to to do for the last couple of years. So I think that's kind of the most impressive thing I saw from Arsenal, and defensively they look quite solid too.
Yeah, you mentioned Odegaard, obviously. He also became the new captain. The previous captain, what was his name? Lack of goals, lack of talent. What was his name? Lack of scoring opportunities. Lacazette. Oh, Lacazette. Yeah, that was his name. He's no longer at Arsenal, and now we have a new captain. We have some new signings as well. So Pan Jack, I don't know if you're aware. So we bought 2 Manchester City players. Gabriel Jesus, his name is, I believe, and Alexander Zilchenko. So what do you guys think? Are they going to make us stronger?
Oh, two great signings. I always thought it was a bit of a shame that Zinchenko couldn't get on the pitch, couldn't watch him play, and Jesus is a fantastic player. I think he's going to score a lot of goals for you this season. You recently have lacked a bit of quality in front of goal. Lacazette does have that quality, and obviously let's not talk about Aubameyang. But yeah, I think Jesus is going to be a quality asset for you this season.
I was a bit harsh on I just wanted to make a silly joke there. I mean, Lacazette, I didn't hate him. But the truth is, he didn't score any goals, right? So we needed more goal threat for his position. So yeah, but I agree with your assessment of those 2 signings. I think they're brilliant signings. And so Pan, you said you watched the first game as well, didn't you? What do you think of
Zinchenko now play midfield? Like, is he more of a midfield role?
I think he was a left back.
Oh, he's left wing. Okay, left wing back.
He's like a left wing, a left back.
Well, he played a left back actually on Friday.
But he can also play center midfield, and I think that's what he plays for the Ukrainian team. And I think you know how Joao Cancelo, what he does like at Manchester City. I think Zilchenko might be our Joao Cancelo actually, because he might sometimes like be a playmaker from that position, which is kind of cool.
Do you often play with wing
Yeah, like
backs?
Come again?
Do you play with wing backs? With three at the back?
Joel, do we play with wingbacks?
I'm not super sure of our formation on Friday, but in general, I don't think so.
I don't think we do.
Yeah,
I don't think we
normally
do.
play with four at the back, don't you? But yeah, he gets forward, doesn't he?
Because normally we would have Kian Tierney on the left, but that's not a wing back. I think he's a back. It's back four. It's part of back four. And then Tomiyasu on the right. Yeah. But I wanted to ask Pan. So the man of the match was Saliba, actually. Yeah. I don't know if you know him, but I think he has been at Arsenal for a bit, but he was always like loaned away or something. Never really made it. But we knew about his talent. Like, he's really talented. And he absolutely smashed that first game. He was the best player on the pitch. So, not sure if you know him. But,
no, not so much really. But I like looking through social media. Like, everyone's like Arsenal fans picking out Saliba, which is interesting when he scored Gabriel Jesus looked super dangerous. He scored a couple of goals, and people pick out the centre back. Like you have to shine. Like, you have to really shine to get man of the match as a centre back when your team scored twice.
Yeah.
What do you think, Joel? Was it deserved, this man of the match award?
Yeah, I mean, he played pretty well alongside Ben White and Gabriel. So yeah, I mean, I wouldn't say Arsenal scored twice and they were pretty fluid offensively, but I wouldn't say that one of their attacking players played so well that they had to be man of the match. So I think all things considered, it was a fair enough award for him.
Fantastic. All right, so let's move on to Leeds United. So, Pan, that's your team. And you got off to a flyer, didn't you?
Well, yes and no, because we conceded in 6 minutes, So it's quite a bad omen that when the season starts full of hope, and then within 5 minutes, everyone's like, oh, God, not again. Here we go again. But we actually came from 1-0 down to win 2-1. The team's totally different now from last year or a couple of years ago. Different manager, different style, different personnel. Rafinha left, Calvin Phillips left. So big restructuring, reorganization project, which means you never know which way it's going to go. Like, you're not sure of how the team will look, how everybody will have adapted, how the new signings will handle the Premier League, and so on. But really solid performance, really like inspiring performance in a way, to inspire some hope. Like,
let's be honest.
Fans.
Let's be honest. Wolves are no mugs.
No, they're a team that knows how to defend a lead, a small lead. Like, they scored really few goals last season, but they also conceded a really low number as well. So when they went 1-0 up in 5 minutes, you thought, oh, goodness me, this is bad news. But the team pressed on. Some of the new signings, this American Brendan Aronson, was really dangerous. He almost scored in a way, like, went down as an own goal, but I think...
Hang on. He scored a winner?
No, it got credited officially as an own goal. Like, they had camera zoom in, but basically the defender doesn't want an own goal. Aronson wants a goal. It was clearly like that was going to happen anyway. Yeah. So I guess it doesn't count as his first real goal. But he said he's claiming it. He wants to take credit for it. I can't blame him. Yeah.
So obviously,
he did really well.
Sorry, go on.
Well, like, he did really well. The new signings showed a lot of promise. It's good to get 3 points, because I think last season it took until the 1st of October to get a win for Leeds last season. Like,
so
7-8 games. Yeah. Watford at home. I think after the first 5 or 6 games, we had 3 points. We had 3 draws after 6 games, and it doesn't feel good. Right? You remember last season for Arsenal at the start, when you don't win the first few games, and then it becomes, the pressure starts mounting already. When's the first win going to come? Where are you going to get the first win from? So that's out of the way now. We just need, 8 more in a row, and I'll feel a little more relaxed.
It's good to see Bamford back as well.
Yeah. He makes a big difference. Yeah, and he didn't injure anything.
Yeah.
So, Jack, Leeds are marching on. They have a manager. His name is Jesse Marsh, right? And he's American. So, how do you feel about that, Jack? An American coach in the English Premier League, or?
Yeah, I feel fine about there being an American coach in the English, Premier League.
I'm just joking.
And I'm aware of the fact that when American coaches are in the Premier League, they get a really, really tough time. And it's strange, it's silly, really, but they do have to prove themselves. There is a slight lack of credibility in the opinion of lots of English football fans. And let's face it, a lot of English football fans are idiots. They do and say horrible things.
Of course, not you two guys, but yeah.
Not you two guys, no. But some of the things that people say on the internet about footballers, football coaches, I think it's quite important not to take the general public too seriously at times. But yeah, he saved you at the end of last season. He's got you a win at the beginning of this season. Hopefully that will be enough to silence his doubters.
He strikes me as like motivator. Joel, have you ever seen him? There's a video of him that I think, Pan, it was you who sent it to me the other day, where he's giving a speech, like a halftime speech or something, in his previous club. It's quite extraordinary. I really recommend looking this up. That speech is like half German, half English. Pretty cool, I have to say. Joel, how would you compare? So do we have at Arsenal, do we have a motivator as well, or do you think it's more like a strategist?
Well, I'm not super familiar with the Leeds coach, but I do watch a lot of American sports, so I'm pretty familiar with American coaches in general. The thing about Arteta is that he's kind of, he's a Pep Guardiola disciple. So he strikes me more as a guy who's been trying to build a lot at Arsenal really from day one. I remember when he came in mid-season a couple of seasons ago, and he had them trying to pass out of the back, and it was a disaster because they weren't used to that, and they still had some sore defenders around. I forget their names, but Mustafi, guys like that, Socrates. Yeah,
I understand why you forgot those names, by the way.
Yeah, guys like that who just weren't really good at being on ball defenders. But now I was watching them against Crystal Palace, and aside from a little stretch where the keeper got nervous, like they were really quite comfortable on the ball, and they're starting to do a lot of the things that not really at the same level, but they're starting to do a lot of the things that even City do. So I think Arteta is probably more of a tactical, strategic guy, but it's kind of paying dividends now. Coming into maybe his third year really. Third year kind of starting the season with Arsenal.
You have traumatized me by mentioning Mustafi, because all I could think of now is, I was of course listening to you as well, but all I could picture in my head was all those memories of him doing those sliding tackles when he went like with 2 feet, like, sliding.
Yeah, he was not a great defender.
He was nuts, that guy. Not worthy of the Arsenal shirt, in my opinion. Okay, so last question for Pan. So Pan, you mentioned that there were a lot of new players. I actually did my homework, and you had 4 new players who were making a debut: Christensen, Adams, Rocha, and Arson. That's the American player who almost scored that winner. So which one of these 4 impressed you the most?
They all did pretty well. I would say Brendan Aronson, you will see a lot more of him this season. Like, I think he had the most presses or something. Like, you hear all these stats after game. Ben White had 8 tackles in most tackles of any defender this week, and Aronson had the most presses, like going towards players, pressuring them on the ball. That's exactly what you need to break down, to stop the opponent, like building up momentum and stuff. So really useful player in that sense, defensively and offensively, having shots, creating chances. I think he made the biggest impression on Saturday for Leeds. And he kind of scored, which is good.
Yeah. And one more question. So is this the first American player at Leeds?
So the first American...
is he the first American player at Leeds, or do you have any more? Because what I'm thinking about is now, like, obviously he might have joined because of the manager, who is also American. You know what could happen to Leeds, yeah? Because you have Wolves, who were like what Portuguese club. Yeah. Then now you have a Danish club as well in Brentford. Thomas Frank brought so many Danish players. So what if your team becomes this American team? How would you take it?
Well, if the player, I don't think that's going to be the case. Although we do already have 2 Americans, but Jesse Marsh brought in also Tyler Adams, another American, people that he has existing relationships with. Like you said, he's kind of a motivator. He's more like a man management rather than strategy. He gets a lot out of players through building relationships with them, building up their confidence, which is probably what needed last season. So if there are more American recruits, fine, I don't have a problem. But Leeds already has a scouting department and a director of football. I don't think.
Well, how about
recruit the entire US men's national team?
How about Christian Pulisic from Chelsea? He's not the
No, I'd be happy with him
there, right?
I'd be happy with him. I'd be happy.
Okay, fantastic. And of course, it's time to look at this fantastic result that Brighton pulled off at Old Trafford. So Manchester United, Brighton, it's all yours, Jack.
Yeah, well, we have actually had quite a lot of luck in this fixture previously. That was so Pascal Gross scored 2 goals. That's his 6th goal against Manchester United. Yeah. I don't know how long I think he's been with us for maybe 4 or 5 years. Yeah, we score goals against them. I don't know if you remember the fixture last season. It was the one where the first time that the final whistle has been blown and then a penalty given after the final whistle. It was 2-2, and then Fernandes scored a penalty and they ended up winning 3-2. I feel like this is retribution for that fixture. But yeah, Pascal Gross, at the end of last season, all the rumours were pointing towards him moving away from Brighton. And in all honesty, I don't think a lot of Brighton supporters were that bothered about the idea of him leaving. And yeah, he's proven that his worth in the first game of the season is when he's on the ball. He's always been a person known for set pieces, dead ball scenarios, putting balls in the box. But it was positioning, being in the right place at the right time that won him that. All alongside just Man United not being very tight at the back. Defense was a shambles, really. Not tracking back, not being aware of where men were in the box. We're lucky that they were that poor in defense. Because
you went 2-0 up in halftime, and I actually thought, I was watching the game, and I thought you deserved to be 2-0 up. They were so bad. Yeah. United was so bad. Like, you were all over them. I mean, you had more. Didn't you have more possession than them? I bet you did.
Not by the end of the game, but in the first half, by the end of the game, I think we ended up with 37% possession. But first half, it could have been more.
You were controlling the game. Like, there was only one team in the first half. I know. In the second half, Manchester United got a bit of a foothold, but honestly, what a great performance from you. And as you said, Pascal Gross scoring a brace.
Welbeck causing problems. I really hope that he can keep fit this season. Obviously, our problem last season was not scoring goals. Getting Welbeck and Maupay getting opportunities and not scoring them enough. And Welbeck just being injured. But he can really cause problems when he's fit.
When he's fit.
Playing.
He was for a long time. He was a United player, of course. So we should
exactly
mention that. And then he was also at Arsenal, wasn't he, Joel?
Yeah, he was at Arsenal until a couple of years ago.
Yeah.
Probably injured.
There's like I remember that memorable goal he scored against Leicester. That was like a late game winner. It was amazing, that goal. You might remember that as well. Yeah.
Yeah.
So.
Sure.
Yeah. So when you mentioned Pascal Gross, you are right. He has been at the club for, I believe, this is his 6th season. Yeah. And in his first season, he scored 7 goals. In his second season, 3 goals. In his third season, 2 goals. In his fourth season, 3 goals. In his 5th season, 2 goals. And now
Mm.
he has 2 goals in his after the first match.
Yeah. It's how it pans out, isn't it? It's not... Yeah, the first season we have him, I remember him, being... I play fantasy football, so when a player kind of comes on the radar, you think, oh, I want to have him in my team. But for the last couple of years, I wouldn't touch him on fantasy football. And I think one of the other things is that we do have other players that can play in his position, and he does have to compete to be in the team. Yeah. It's a shame that we got Jakob Modder's injured. Obviously, we've just sold Basuma. They sometimes play in the same positions. Gross can be is a bit of a utility player, can play out in the wing, can play out in midfield. But yeah, it's good to see someone competing for their place in the team and rightfully winning it. And Potter's a bit of a genius. We all know that.
Yeah, well, he's a magician, right? What's his name?
Exactly.
Harry Potter? Harry Potter, something like that, yeah? He's a wizard.
Yeah, we're very lucky to have him. And I think we just need to hold on to him for as long as possible. I mean, he will go to a good club in the future. It's also, our director of football, Dan Ashworth, has left to go to Newcastle. A lot of people might not realise, but that is the biggest signing that Newcastle have made so far, because he was fantastic. And it's strange at the moment because we've got such a history of, well, Ben White, Ibasuma, Kukurea, those 3 players. I think we earn more from their sales than it costs to build our stadium. Yeah. And that is him in the back, or was him in the background doing that work. So hopefully we'll be able to continue this good recruitment policy that we've had.
We have to say with Joel that Ben White is a good servant at the club. Thank you very much for him.
No worries. My pleasure.
Cucurella, the guy with fancy hair, is now at Chelsea, isn't he? So
62.5 million. It's crazy.
Did you get any of that money, or?
No. In fact, season tickets have just gone up in price. Actually, no, but I did get this. Got this little membership pack. Got got a pen and some seeds and a notebook. There you go. Nice.
There you go.
Money well spent.
This is exactly the kind of guest we want here, because these are the most passionate fans, such as Pan himself. As a Leeds fan, is it a good thing that seagulls are flying at the moment? Is it a good thing, or would you rather have Manchester United win this one? Because let's be honest, seagulls might be fighting for similar spot, with Leeds. No?
Well, there's 4 Champions League spots. There's enough space.
Yeah, that's the spirit.
No, but I love it when Manchester United lose. It's good. Feels good. But also, they need to lose. In fact, last year, I think Leeds and Manchester United, they were the first game last season, and Leeds lost badly there. And then everyone thought, yeah, Solskjaer's the guy. This season's the season. And in a way, I'm annoyed that we lost, but it was good because it meant them to stick with Solskjaer and believe that they really had the squad to do it last year. And it ultimately led to their downfall. Yeah, one of those. It was tactical. That was a tactical thrashing.
Nice. I like that. It's like a meta thinking. Okay. Joel, do you know what the commentators said at the beginning of this game? I heard them say, new season, new era, new hope, and new optimism. Can Manchester United get off to a winning start this season? Or what happened there, right? So let's take a look at it from the United's point of view. So Joel, obviously they had a dreadful season last year. So do you think they're going to continue with more of the same, or was this just a blip? Can you have a blip? Can you start with a blip even? I don't know. You can.
Yeah, I mean, United. The problem for United, they just kind of started out with so much of the same personnel, really, from last season. Like the Premier League these days, you got to get better in order to really compete, especially at the top. I mean, you see, Chelsea's, lining Brighton's pockets was, incredible amounts of money and paying for players, probably overpaying for players, but you still kind of need those players if you want to, stay at the top level. So for United, to see that, I think the main new signing I saw there yesterday was Ericsson, and he played actually quite well. But I think what they really need and what they've needed for some time, especially with Paul Pogba gone now, is a really great central midfield player. Someone who plays rather deep in the midfield, who can kind of start their attacks and control the tempo of the game, which they tried to get with Frankie de Jong, but ultimately they weren't able to secure him. But I think until they really secure a player like that, they're going to have a tough time kind of building up their offense. It's just quite tough for them to have a kind of rhythmic, kind of have a good rhythm to their play. Like you watch, because I watched most of the games this weekend, or at least most of the top teams, and you kind of saw Liverpool, City, even Arsenal, had a certain way of playing. They would set the tempo, and they kind of knew what they were doing. Whereas United, it often feels like they don't really know what they're about. They're just sort of knocking the ball about, maybe trying to get Bruno to do something, and maybe trying to get Sancho out in the wing one-on-one or something like that. But they don't seem to have much direction at the minute. So I don't know exactly how you solve that, 1 week into the season, but that was their main problem really from last year. And I thought that had something to do with maybe the way Solskjaer played. He wasn't really a very organized coach. So to see it continue in the first game under, Eric Ten Hag, it's a little worrying for them in the sense that it might be more than the manager. It might be the players. The players are harder to replace in some ways than managers. So.
I feel really sorry for them, but at the same time, I mean, it's fantastic for Arsenal, I have to say.
Yeah.
And for other clubs as well, because let's be honest, Manchester United are a big club, but they are not living up to that at all. Gary Neville and Roy Keane, they were not happy at all.
Yeah.
They were not happy at all at the weekend. Jack, so obviously Ronaldo didn't start in that game. So how satisfying was it to see him pulling faces after each goal Brighton scored?
I don't know. I was about to say I feel bad for Cristiano Ronaldo, but actually I don't feel bad for Cristiano Ronaldo. But I don't know why he's there. I don't know.
No one wants him.
Well, I know why he's staying. They can't get rid of him, can they?
No.
I just don't really think that he fits into the. I mean, last season they bought Sancho, and then they could get Cristiano Ronaldo, so they got Cristiano Ronaldo.
No, wasn't it that they didn't want Manchester City to have him because they were about to buy him, right?
It could have been a bit of that. I mean, we just hear the rumors. The rumor was he was going to Man City, and then the news was that he's gone to Manchester United. But it's things like that where they haven't made enough money off him in shirt sales. It's not a well thought through plan. The club just seems like a bit of a shambles. You've got what was their manager last season, or director of football and caretaker manager? Rangnick came, then he left for the Austria job, but he wasn't going to leave. He was just going to do Austria, and now he has left. But Ten Hag's coming in, and it just seems all very badly organized. And then it seems like that's reflected on the pitch. It's just not organized. It's the McTominay and Fred. Sometimes they play well, sometimes they don't at all. I mean, you were talking about getting a good core in midfield that they can play through from. And just seems that they've got a lot of quality in some places and then just lack any quality in others.
Yeah. I couldn't agree more, yeah. So
they'll do very
that
well.
was a good There was a good joke that one of the commentators made. Basically, they were quoting what Ten Hag said. Basically, he was asked about his man management approach, and apparently he said, "I don't need a hairdryer." So, Pan, could you explain that? I mean, you probably know from the era of Alex Ferguson what that was. Yeah. So what does
Yeah,
it
to give
mean?
someone
Hair dryer
to give someone
approach.
the hairdryer treatment, to shout in their face, blast air in their face because of shouting. I guess he's saying because of his similar hairstyle to mine that he's he doesn't need one for his hair, and he doesn't.
Yeah, because he's
I don't-
bald as well. He's also
Yeah.
bald. So I think it was some kind of a double entendre or something.
Yeah. It's quite funny for him because he doesn't seem like
Yeah.
a funny guy at all. And like conferences, his answers are just like he doesn't want to engage with the press at all. I don't know if that's what that club needs though. If they need somebody who's not interested in the media, because they were asking him, is Ronaldo going to play? Is he going to start? What are you going to do if he doesn't do this? What are you going to do? And it's all a big circus around this player, and you actually need to deflect and just
exactly
disable all that and try and focus on playing football instead of feeding it more, because that club's been run by like big players with big egos and big social media followings basically for the last decade, and it's led it to where it is now, and it's great.
Yeah.
How long can he do it though? How long can he not let the press get to him?
It's a good question.
It's
See,
hard
it would be
job.
better if he didn't speak English. Like Leeds manager Bielsa, he like refused to speak English. He just speak in Spanish and get someone to translate. And sometimes the translations were a bit weird. But you think, are the translations weird, or is he just kind of saying something, and then by the time it's translated, the press have forgotten what they really asked, and they're like, okay, next question. Like you kind of need to just avoid it, just pretend.
I bet you still miss him, Pan.
Yeah, I love him. Yeah, great guy.
Yeah. I think Leeds fans remember him.
Yeah. Legend.
Have fond memories of him. He might even come back one day, right? Who knows?
Maybe. Like he went to try and get the Athletic Bilbao job, a club he's already been to recently, but the president, there's some complicated system, but he didn't get the job. But it means it's not out of the question that he could return to a club that he's already managed. But who knows? Let's see.
Good. So Joel, you said you saw all the big four games, big four teams games. So which one do you want to talk about first? So we had obviously Liverpool, Fulham. We had Chelsea, Everton, Chelsea, and then what was the last one? Manchester City, West Ham. So which one do you want to pick apart, Joel, for us?
I guess this is the most boring game, but Chelsea Everton. I'll probably talk about just in that. I know Chelsea have been. I was kind of excited to watch the game because of all the kind of names in the Premier League. Even though Everton almost went down last season, they're still a pretty big name. So I just thought, Chelsea, Everton, two relatively big teams. This would be a good watch. And watching Chelsea, I just remembered how boring they've been for the last year, really. How like they were actually a pretty boring team last year, and I'd forgotten that, so I was watching again. But I think, their lack of really, really great players in the final third of the pitch, really, really great kind of forwards, in the sense that they have a wonderful midfield. Those, it's just such a joy to watch Kante and Jorginho and Kovacic sometimes. Like, Kovacic didn't play yesterday, but, whenever he plays for them, even guys like Loftus-Cheek are really impressive.
Yeah,
but
they have good fullbacks as well, right?
Yeah.
Good wing backs.
Reece James, Chilwell, absolutely apply the guys like that. But like, so many of their offensive players have just been more or less flops. Like Werner, I think, is already going back to Leipzig, and they've already agreed a deal for that. Lukaku's pretty much gone. I like Kai Havertz. I don't really know what Kai Havertz is supposed to do or be. I don't know if he's a striker or a false nine or a winger. Ziyech doesn't play very well. And, you have guys like Mason Mount who are a bit better, but I don't think he can do it all on his own. So,
you know what, Joel? It has to come down to Cucurella now.
It's got to. It's got to.
Can I need more than that?
Because they're just because they don't really have many great strikers to pass the ball to. They're just kind of going around in circles a lot, and it makes boring games. And it's just, and they play five at the back as well. So I just want Chelsea to get better so I can watch better games the whole season. I don't really care about Chelsea, but I just hope they're not as bad for all the whole 38 games.
What about Broja? Is he Is he going to be
He's
at
there now.
Chelsea or?
He's
Is he
there,
there
yeah.
now? Okay, yeah.
I feel like they've got good players though. I mean, one of the issues with Lukaku was that he complained that the system that Tuchel played didn't play to his strengths, and sometimes I do question whether or not, with the players they've got. I mean, we saw how Werner played for Leipzig. Havertz has had some moments where he does show really good quality. Whether or not they're playing a system that allows the attacking potency of that team to really flourish. Because they've got good players. They on paper, they're just not scoring, getting the numbers that they should have.
Yeah, that's right. And Pan, Liverpool also have good players on paper, but what happened there? They drew at Fulham, and in my humble opinion, Fulham were the better team in that game.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah. For sure. The grass was too dry. If you heard Klopp afterwards making excuses, as always, and the pitch was dry, so that's why. And then on like Fulham's Twitter, the next day they posted a photo of like the grass being watered before the game. So but that was Klopp's excuse. The pitch was dry, and the fixture congestion, the usual stuff. But Liverpool didn't come like flying out of the blocks. Whereas like a week ago, the Community Shield, you compare Liverpool and Man City, how like both teams started their season. Liverpool were on it from the first minute. They were pushing high energy. But then this week, it's like they were tired already. They passing out play, like really like weird stuff from them. But first game, it doesn't matter. Like one of those, like they've got good players. They will perform. They'll get up to speed.
Well, you say it doesn't matter.
I wouldn't read into it.
You say it doesn't matter, but like if it's going to be between them and Manchester City, you know what happened last year? Yeah, it only came down to 1 point. So losing away from home at what's the name of the stadium? Craven Cottage. I mean, I don't know, Jack. What do you think? Is that something that is not gonna matter in the end?
Yeah, well, yeah, it could matter. Yeah, it could also matter for Leeds and Brighton, because when you look at Fulham, you're thinking we want them to go down.
Exactly.
Well, we want them to go down more than us. So it's a shame to see them get a point from Liverpool. But yeah, to be honest, I'm quite happy to see Mitrovic scoring goals. I can't remember how many goals he scored in the Championship last season, but it was something crazy like 45 or 43.
He's a beast. Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, it's nice to see a big team not get a win. Nice to see Mitrovic score.
Always. I have to say. Yeah.
I mean, end of last season, I was gunning for Liverpool over Man City, but yeah, ended up being Man City. So they are games that they need to win.
No, if it's between those two teams, I will always support Liverpool. I have to tell you this from the beginning. Man City, they had it too easy against West Ham. Joel, you saw the game, yeah? So as I said, guys, I have a soft spot for West Ham, so I was quite disappointed with what tactic David Moyes went on the pitch. It was disappointing, honestly. Joel, there's no question about what happened there, right?
Yeah, I mean, look, every team against City plays pretty deep. So obviously City expected that, and they know how to play around that. But you would think 1-0 down, especially after going 2-0 down, that they kind of would have came out of the shell a little bit. But they played pretty much the same way the whole game. Very conservative. When they had Antonio on, it was more or less, just kind of long ball to Antonio. And he can work pretty well with that, but it just didn't come off with him on Sunday. I was more impressed with. It wasn't a great game. I mean, it wasn't terrible, but it wasn't a great game. But I was quite impressed with Haaland. Even how he won the penalty and the second goal. I was kind of surprised by his pace. I mean, I knew he was quite fast, but his acceleration. Yeah,
he just did exactly what he did in Germany. Honestly, for me, it was not. Were there any doubts, Pan, that Haaland wouldn't make it in the Premier League?
No, it's clear. Like it makes the league slightly boring this year because they've swapped Jesus, who was a goal threat, for like an uber threat, like a real like goal destroyer, defensive like
It's like-
nightmare.
It's like Hulk, it's like Incredible
Yeah,
Hulk or something.
Yeah.
It's gonna be unstoppable, I think. The only thing that can stop him is injuries, because he can be quite injury prone. Other than that, honestly, Golden Boot, it's gonna be him. Jack, don't you think? Or could it be Pascal Gross?
It won't be Pascal Gross, but that would be incredible. Yeah, I mean, I wouldn't be surprised. I think the big question before the season was who's going to score more, Haaland, Salah, or Kane. And I think, well, he's come out the traps quite some. Yeah, he looked very good. Very good. I didn't watch the whole game. I just watched the highlights. But that pace, the physicality, the way that he gets to the ball. He missed a good opportunity to score a header actually, but even just the positioning to get behind it and the pace that he got on it.
I don't know what to say. Like sometimes when you have these lumps of meat, like these big players, like they are clumsy or I don't know, stupid or something, but he just knows how to time his runs. He just knows how to play football. This guy.
Mm-hmm.
He's just.
I think we're in for a treat this season.
Where was he born? Do you know where he was born?
Norwegian, right?
Somewhere in England, I think. Somewhere.
He was born in Leeds. Born in Leeds.
He's born in Leeds, but he's Norwegian, right? Obviously.
Yeah. But his dad was playing for Leeds at the time.
Oh, for Leeds
at the time, Leeds, and then shortly after he went to Man City.
Was it because his father played for Leeds? Did his father play for Leeds? Okay.
At the time, yeah.
And he took a really bad tackle from Roy Keane. I think he's always had a very passionate dislike for Man United. And, that makes sense. He's gone to City.
The revenge is going to be probably sweet, because now his son is gonna make Roy Keane's life hell.
He playing a long game. Yeah, they played the super long game, generational long game.
Yeah. Oh, he was in the stadium, his father, and he seemed very happy with both goals he scored. The cameraman, they were on him all the time.
Yeah.
So. And also the cameramen were on him in the post-match interview. Did you guys hear what he said?
No.
Yeah.
Heard a little bit of it.
He just can't help himself. He just swears. He just likes to swear. So he did exactly the same in Germany, and he did it again here. I think he used the S word twice, and to the commentator's surprise, who had to tell him off for that. That was quite kind of funny. He told him off for swearing, and the next thing Haaland says is swear. That's quite cool,
It's really fun.
All right, guys, I'm gonna ask you about your heroes and villains of the week now. Yeah, let's get this out of the way quickly. So, Joel, who are you gonna give it to? The hero of the week.
The hero of the week. I was gonna say Haaland, but we just talked about him. So my hero of the week is going to be Mitrovic. He played very well against Liverpool. He went at Van Dijk and won a penalty in a pretty impressive fashion. And overall, I looked up his age actually after he scored, and he's only 27. I thought, wow, I mean, he's just been around in English football for quite a while. So when he used to play for Newcastle and tear up there. So I think he's probably my hero of the week.
All right, Pan, what about you?
I will always just pick a Leeds player. It's kind of boring, but maybe I give it to Ronaldo. In fact, for causing so much fuss United that they imploded again. That was pretty satisfying. Other than that, I'll give it to the Leeds goalkeeper. Yeah. They did a great job. Here's my hero.
All right then. And what about Jack?
Or I would actually like more. Sorry.
Go on, Pan. What are you saying?
No, I would like personally, probably I would actually really give it to the Leeds goalkeeper because Wolves probably had a couple of good chances. And,
Go for it.
Meslier,
Yeah.
saved
I saw some of his saves. Yeah, they were like fingertips, like brilliant saves. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, the Brighton keeper Sanchez made a few good saves as well, but I think my hero.
Is he your hero of the week? The Brighton
No,
keeper?
no. You know who my hero of the week is.
Obviously, it's Ten Hag.
Pascal Gross, 2 goals against United, getting us the win. Yeah, you can.
Yeah, I bet Ten Hag said, "Oh, this is gross." Yeah. He wasn't really happy about that, was he? And my hero of the week, yeah, I agree with actually Joel. I'm gonna be boring and give it to Mitrovic because I think it's about the size of the club as well. Liverpool tight challenges until the last game week. Yeah. Now they won the Charity Shield, didn't they? So we talked about quadruple last season, like in the last month, right? So what's it gonna be this season? What's after quadruple? You have double, triple, quadruple. What's the
quintuple? I think
quintuple or something. Well, they are on. It's on, yeah. So after winning the Charity Shield, now I'm giving it to Mitrovic. I think he played brilliantly. All right, let's deal with the villains of the week now. Who wants to go first?
My villain of the week is a player that I think actually gets too much hate thrown his way, but I'm gonna give it to Harry Maguire this week. On the first Brighton goal, he did this weird thing where he stepped up, and then he kind of let the player in behind him pretty much one-on-one with the other defender, and that was pretty tough. And then Gross was able to score from there. So I kind of thought that didn't make much sense. And once United went 1-0 down, the game got a lot tougher for them. So I think really of all the players this week, I'd probably give Harry Maguire my villain.
I can't believe this is happening in the first show of this season. You have no idea how many times Harry Maguire was the villain of the week last season. And we have like a completely new person, Joel. Joel hasn't been here before. And he does exactly the same what the other guests did last season. He was almost bullied on this show. So I was like, he has a clean slate, yeah. And it's happening again here on this show. We just can't help it. Harry Maguire, he's just an easy target, I guess. Well,
it's just the way he plays.
Jack, your villain of the week. Not Maguire, please.
No, it is a Manchester United player, and his name does begin with M, but it's actually McTominay.
Scott McTominay.
Yeah, just put in a very nasty challenge in on. Who was it actually? I think it was. Caicedo, yeah. Mm-hmm. But yeah, studs in on Caicedo. Caicedo, put himself in the position where it could happen, but I think he should have been sent off. And it doesn't get more villainous than that. So he's my villain.
All right. Pan, what about you?
The Wolves manager, Bruno Lage, he was shouting at Jesse Marsh, and I'm sick of this. You can't shout at my manager. At the end of the game, and actually Jesse Marsh went to go shake his hand, and Bruno Lage said, "I'm not shaking your hand," and then blah 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 blah, and disrespectful.
All right. Well, my villain of the week has to be Harry Kane. Not just because he's Tottenham player. Mm-hmm. Obviously, as a Gunner, I hate Tottenham players, but he just disappointed me. Last minute, I decided to go for him instead of Haaland in the fantasy, which is something
I knew you were going to say that. I knew that was the real reason.
We're gonna do fantasy now, yeah. So I'm just gonna play this, and it's like a smooth transition into this segment, yeah. Yes. So Harry Kane, my villain of the week, and let's talk about the FPL. So except Joel, everybody plays the FPL here, yeah?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yes, yeah.
So Joel, if you want to, you can stay. We don't mind, but we're gonna talk about the Fantasy Premier League now. Which, by the way, any of you guys can join. It's honestly, missing the first round doesn't mean that you can still you can't still do well. You can still do well, and this is the mini league. This is the mini league that you can join if you fancy it. Teachers Denick mini league. So how did you guys do?
Pan's just behind me in 4th position.
Oh, yeah, Jack.
Yeah,
You know what? I'm gonna share the screen. I'm gonna show it here
Just
to
5 points
show
ahead of you.
how we are doing in this mini league. Just 1 second.
I think it's safe to say that Pan and I just did okay. We did well.
I have to say that out of the 3 of us, I didn't do very well at all. So I'm just quickly gonna share the screen. Okay, 1 second.
Yeah, so I captained Salah. That paid off. I think it was. I've heard that Salah has scored on the first day of the season. It was 5 seasons in a row. It's now 6 seasons in a row that he's scored on the first day.
Yeah.
On the first game week. So yeah, I think that was a bit of an easy decision for me. Yeah, I went for Haaland, so I didn't have that Kane misery that you talked about.
But to be honest, it only came down to that. Otherwise, I would have done all right. 57 points. It was the average score, and that's not good enough. It's my second year in the FPL as a manager, and I could have done so much better. 57 points is not good enough. Yeah. What about you, Pan?
Did all right. Like I said, maybe I mentioned to you earlier that I have to have 3 Leeds players in my team at all times.
I'm just looking at your team.
They're my boys.
3 Leeds players.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah.
Which is like kind of a handicap at most times.
Well, Harrison got 6 points.
And Gelhardt, and Aronson should have scored. The goal was taken from him, so that would have actually been quite a good deal. I was shortchanged there. I was shortchanged. Also, Perisic, I picked the wrong Tottenham wing back. I had Perisic, and I figured Tottenham are going to really use their wing backs. Sessegnon, I think, scored. That's just this. But learning first week's always a surprise, right? There are always a couple of surprises.
75 points, Jack. That's amazing.
Yeah,
so who scored you the most? Who scored you the most points?
Kane and Haaland.
Kane? Oh, you mean
Salah and Haaland?
Yeah.
Salah and Haaland. Apart from that, it was just my defense that got points. Chilwell got an assist and a clean sheet. Trossard did have some really good moments, and I am continuing my petition to have points for the assist to the assist.
the pre-assist, yeah.
The pre-assist, exactly. I think he's gonna be good. Brighton have got some good fixtures coming up as well. I just want more football already.
Same. I made a few terrible mistakes. So apart from the Haaland one, I just simply decided to go for Kane in last minute. I also had Zinchenko in my team, who got like something along the lines of 13 points, and I replaced him with James and Chilwell, who actually they got me a lot of points, but like maybe I could have kept Zinchenko. And then I did something weird as well. I went for Ward instead of Ederson because I expected West Ham to score at least 1 goal. And of course, this is what happened. Yeah, Ederson got a clean sheet and Ward didn't. So
yeah, controversial decision, that one.
Yeah. And
it's probably what it's like to be Erik ten Hag right now. You're like, oh god, the season started so badly. Like you feel sometimes you have a bad week and you're like, oh, the season's over. Like, oh, I'm never going to come back from this.
Yeah. So if we have any people watching this and you guys also play the Fantasy League, let us know in the comments how many points did you score. I am very disappointed with my score, but let's be honest, it's not over. It's not over yet. But you guys did really well. But there's one more person C. Goodwin that has 81 points. So, yeah.
And a great name as well, Mario Balotelli Tubby.
Exactly. Exactly. Right. So, yeah, that will be it, I guess, for today. Thank you very much, guys, for coming on. I really appreciate it. I hope you had a good time here, and also I hope our viewers enjoyed this as well. What else was I gonna say? I wanted to tell you that I have made a little change to the format of the show. So you may have noticed that I don't really explain any vocabulary anymore during the show because it was just a bit too much of multitasking, and I simply enjoy just talking to my guests more. However, you will still get a bit of that, but it will be in a separate video, which I'm planning to create sometime this week. So that's something you can look forward to. And as well as that, don't forget to join the mini league again. Even if you are a little bit late, that's okay. You can still compete with us. So we have got Max, who says, it was a very informative chat, guys. Thanks to you. Thanks to all of you. So thank you, Max, for watching. And yeah, guys, I hope this is not the last time we see you here, especially if you get such fantastic results like this weekend. All right.
Hopefully.
Take care, guys.
Thanks, guys. Thanks.
Thanks for watching, everyone.
Thanks.
Bye.
Bye-bye.